Afternoon. Well, I am at Lost Maples State Natural Area, which should be obvious to you is not Hill Country State Natural Area. I had to pivot, and got some rain in Austin this week. Sorry, it is hot, humid, and I just came up a little hill to start, and this loaded pack is no joke. I'm gonna have to figure that out. It is too much. This is not a sustainable weight. Although I do have about 10 pounds of water because Hill Country has really no water available. Lost Maples is right on the river, so I could have been practicing with my new water filter, but that's okay. And but we're here. It was all closed up at Hill Country. I didn't check before I left the house, so I drove all the way out there to find out no camping, no trails, and so I had to pivot. So I'm out here at Lost Maples, about an hour away from Hill Country State Natural Area, and beautiful. Lots of trees. Park hosts up there kind of ahead of me in their little side by side, but man, shouldn't be a problem with the hammock here. This is primitive camping. It's kind of first come, first serve. It's about 6 different camp areas. So, Ranger told me the most popular one is A. It is the closest to the parking, so I'm going the opposite direction. And we'll see where I end up. My buddy wasn't able to drive out here with me, but so he's going to come out here separately. There's 0 cell signal, and so really no way to communicate. I was able to get text to his wife because she's got the blue text bubble like me. He's got the green one, so she's having to relay messages. And but here we are. So I'll check in later.
Well, it turns out my mic wasn't working. I'm not really sure when it turned off, but I didn't realize it at first, so I just talked to myself for a significant amount of time. But I can give you the rundown of what I was talking about. First of which was saying that I'm headed to campsite D. That was the one that's the opposite direction of campsite A. But while I was on my way there, I ran into some young guys with a red wagon full of food and camping supplies. And I'm not sure how they got as far as they did on what I was hiking on. And they were determined. They made sure, asked me if they were going the right way or not. But, once I got past them, I was thinking there's no way they could have got that wagon there. I was stumbling, going through the creek bed, going up these steep rocky climbs. There's no way. Well, best of luck to them. But then I got to campsite D, and there was already somebody posted up there, and it didn't really look like it was a good spot for multiple people. So I moved on to campsite E, before finally realizing that my mic was not working.
Hello? Okay. I made it to the top. That was no joke. I'm not quite to where I need to be. I got about a quarter mile left to get to the next campsite. And but it's pretty up here. This isn't even like an overlook. It's just top of the trail here. So I took my pack off. Let my shoulders rest. Once it feels like I'm not wearing the pack, then I'll put it back on. Then as soon as I took it off, it's like could still feel it. So letting that dissipate, and then I'll finish this last little bit to hopefully where I'm gonna stay for the next night or two. We'll see.
Setting up a hammock can require a fair amount of adjustments here and there. The technical term is fiddling, and that's what you got to do, a lot of fiddling to get it right. Now, if I'm just setting up in the park just to take a nap, hang out around the campsite, when we're out camping our camper, it doesn't take that much. You just kind of get up there, get it close, make sure it's high enough off the ground that you can get in and out of it without looking like an idiot. And you just go from there. But if I'm going to be sleeping in it all night, I want to make sure that I've got it just right. And it's different every time because the trees are always different. At some point I realized, I should have hooked to this other limb, so I had to move it over there. Then it's like, wow, do I have tension? It's hard to see there. Maybe you can see it across. There's something called a ridge line, and that just kind of holds the dimension where the tension on the straps pulls against it and not the hammock, so that when you get that set how you want it, it kind of stays where you want it. Tension is on the ridge line, so it doesn't pull apart, and you get the correct amount of sag. And so, I got it ready. I was ready. Finally had it adjusted how I wanted it. It's time to test it out. And I ended up kind of falling asleep for a little while. And that was pretty fantastic. It felt great. And later on, I put the bug net on. There weren't really bugs at this time, but I knew there would be at night when I was sleeping. And it's a pretty crucial part of the whole system.
Good morning. I took a nap yesterday and then woke up and never turned the camera back on. But my buddy made it here yesterday evening. We were supposed to travel together, but something came up, life guy, so he came out, which is good because I was like 85% sure he was going to cancel on me. And but he wants to get away from town just as bad as I do. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, all.
Good morning. So we had a nice night. This is a pretty great campsite. We'll give you a grand tour. This is Dave's set up here with his hammock, and drying out. As sweaty as fuck yesterday. The hike in, yeah, it's it's 88% humidity right now, but the sun's not out yet. It's kind of gloomy looking, which is kind of nice. Slow start to the day. I was giving a tour. Let's see. We're in the trees. This is the primitive camping. We are at the top of the world up here. I think if it's not the highest point in this park, I'm surprised. It was quite the trek up. We got a little game camera there. See if anything visits us at night. Food's hanging there. It's a big site. Just surrounded by the trees. Here's my setup with the bug net on. The ground tarp hanging up. Pack is on the chair here. Yeah, this is all us hidden back here. And we're gonna hike today. This park doesn't have as many miles of trails as the hill country, but they got a nice loop. It's beautiful stuff. This is Lost Maples. It's called that because there's a grove of maple trees that doesn't really exist in this part of the state, so it's a natural wonder. But there's also there's just this ravine, kind of like what you saw in the Greenbelt the other day, but much narrower, that runs through, follows the creek. There's also the Sabinal River that comes through this park, and it's just great. And you get in there, and there's just these pockets of cool air down by the creek where it's just coming out of the limestone and stuff. And that was a breath of fresh air yesterday hiking in. It was a straight climb. I showed a little bit of it, but like I was huffing and puffing too hard to really share too much of it. And then Dave got here a little later, and he was drenching. Dave's in the Army, so he's using his Army stuff, which is easily like 70 pounds worth of shit. Like, his big old pack and everything. But he's got to practice with it too because he's got to go out and do training with that stuff. So we're going to hike back to the truck first. It's kind of on the way to everything, so we're not like going out of our way, but refill with water. I'm going to drop some stuff off that like I don't want to have to carry around and see what happens today. We're going to string together all the little loops and trails and should get a decent amount of miles in, and then sleep it off tonight again, and get up and hike out in the morning. So hopefully there's a back way into this campsite so that we don't have to come up that damn hill too much. But it's marked steep on the map, and that's never a good thing on these state parks maps because they don't really label terrain very much. So if they take the time to do it, it's going to be some serious business. But I see tracks up here for like the little side by sides. They come up and check these sites and clean them up with. So there's another way because there ain't no way those are coming the way we came. Dave did pass the young guys with a wagon. I think I mentioned that. If not, there's some young guys trying to get to the same campsites. I mentioned the little red wagon. He passed them hours later, and the way he described it, pretty much exactly where I left them. So I'm not sure. Maybe they just rested up and hiked on back out. But we'll see how it goes today. And just us and the birds. The sun's supposed to come out, burn off, and hopefully it won't be so humid later. But right now at kickoff time, we're looking at, let's see here. It's coming down. It's only 87% humidity right now. So 70.7 degrees and 88% humidity. And so we'll see how it goes. Last weekend I had to backtrack like 4 different times, and I had a route mapped out on my phone. I just wasn't looking at it, and then I'd be like, huh. And one time I went up, it was taking me. I was supposed to go under Mopac, and instead I followed this trail, and it was taking me right to that pedestrian bridge there at 360 in Mopac. I was like, fuck, that's not where I'm supposed to be. And I was filming it, right? So I'd just been up there and be like, I was filming it, and I said, you see down there at the bottom? That's where I just was. Now I'm up here. And then I had to the next scene is me saying, well, I was supposed to be down here at the bottom where I just showed you. That's on me. We were looking for a place on the map called the Grotto. It was one of the points of interest marked there. When we got here, we were pretty sure we found it. This place was pretty great, nice and cool, overhangs, plants everywhere. So we hiked on in, and yeah, it was pretty fun. Nice little place. Turns out it wasn't the grotto though. This was the fake grotto, because we ended up getting to the park boundary. There was a fence which Dave recognized as we had gone off on the wrong creek from when he looked at the map, and then so we had to turn back. We ran into a couple other guys that were making the same mistake we were. We hiked with them for a while. They were from not too far from where we're from, and so we'll swap some stories about trips and such. This is the actual grotto, far less impressive than the fake grotto. So, it was okay. But, if you're going to encourage a lot of people to go there, take them to the uglier one. It's cool. It had, some stuff going on and a sign saying, what is a grotto. So, if you get the chance to see both, definitely to see both. That was a rough one, man. We've been back at camp a little while now. Kind of napped in the chair and tried to recover. I don't know that I've ever put myself out. I don't know that I could have gone any farther. Usually I get done and I'm like, man, I feel like I can keep going. That was not the case today. But I'm having some beef lasagna with cheesy marinara sauce. Army Dave brought some MREs. What you got?
I got beef and black beans. I got my cherry cobbler heating up on my MRE eater right here.
Yeah.
Not the best, but I had it in my garage, so might as well use it.
Man, taxpayers paid for it. I've also got an Army tortilla, which is really not the worst tortilla I've ever had, if I'm being honest. There's some pretty terrible Mexican restaurants where I grew up, but it's it's a nice little mix. If we don't eat it tonight, we got to carry it back down tomorrow. So we're gonna fill ourselves up and just go to sleep. But this is the last night. We're gonna pack up in the morning and it's 2.5 miles back down the car, and then I think we're gonna try to sneak over to the other campgrounds and take a cold shower, because we want to grab a burger on the way back, and we're not really presentable for civilization. So clothes will still stink, but at least I'll be cleaner. So yeah, I think this will probably be me signing off for tonight. I'll kind of summarize it up tomorrow. And it's been a good trip, been hard work. I think it was just under 10 miles today, and I don't know, 9-10 miles of climbing, I swear. But no, I think it was over 2,000 feet elevation gain, and most of that was in short spurts. There was a lot of flat ground and then just straight vertical climbs. So saw some pretty stuff. I think I got some of it for y'all. I'll know better when I start cutting this together and post. But a lot of radio silence. I was putting out the effort. I could not be holding the camera up and pushing my knees up these hills. So, but yeah, so I'm gonna enjoy this wonderful meal. Whew, good morning. This is the final morning. We are packing up, getting ready to do that descent one more time down to the trucks. And we're gonna sneak over to the fancy campgrounds and get a shower in, because it is so humid. I woke up damper and nastier than I did after the 10-mile hike yesterday. Like, it's super foggy. I don't know if it shows up on camera, but like, it feels like it's sprinkling on me. It's just so heavy in the air. And I'm a little worried about running into gorillas on the way down now. It's man, it's but we'll see. We're gonna get on down. I don't think it'll be too hard. Packs are lighter. We're extra motivated, and we just have to be a little quiet so that we don't wake up anybody at the next campground down the hill. And yeah, and this is it. You know, it's been a good trip. It was hard work. I feel extra disgusting because of the humidity, but it's getting to be that time of year. This is probably my last overnight hiking trip of the year. I've got surgery in July on my shoulder, and I say of the year, before it gets cool again. I'm not gonna. It's gonna be too hot overnight to be camping, you know, July, August, and but I will be doing that training trip in Cancun, so work the body pretty hard there, and yeah, and then kind of still day hikes. I'll still do some day hikes. Maybe not 12 miles in July, but you know, keep moving, keep going, and clearly do the Stairmaster at the gym, because my body's not ready to go up a mountain for sure. But I'm happy with the trip, so no complaints. And glad that my buddy could join me. It's always fun to have somebody there. Although kind of mad at him, he fucking just kind of jogged up the hills when I was thinking about calling for a rescue helicopter, but that's okay. He's in the Army. He kind of, you know, does this shit sometimes. And yeah, it's been great. So I'm happy about it. Probably do some kind of summary down at the truck, maybe when I get home. Kind of go over some of the stats and do that kind of thing. But I'll see you then. Dave was worried about somebody stealing his car, so he just packed the Corolla in his bag.
All right, ready now.
Damn, look at that. It's like a Pee Wee baseball team in there.
How's it going, Sean?
Loving life. Okay, it's been a couple days. I'm back at home, rested up, hydrated, all the good things, and ready to talk about the weekend. I apologize if you can hear the neighbor's unhappy child in the background. I hope you can't. But yeah, I'd like to go over a few things. But first, say, you know, I slept well in the hammock. You know, for the most part, it wasn't the hammock's fault. You know, at one point I was laying there thinking about how comfortable I was. How come I wasn't asleep? Part of it was the humidity, I know for sure. And part of it was just, I don't know, just being out there and listening to the birds. And there was some pretty loud night birds out there. But yeah, let's look at, I went to the various apps and devices and pulled up some numbers here. And this is, for me, Dave, obviously similar on some of these. He did a little farther than me on Saturday because I was wiped, man. So we came across a service road where I had mentioned earlier that I could see where the little side-by-sides came up to clean these campsites. So I went up that thinking, man, this is going to be shorter, easier. It was not. I mean, it was technically shorter. I mean, we saw the numbers there, but it was not easy. It was steep in its own right, and those little gas-powered vehicles don't need spots to stop and rest, so there really wasn't anywhere to go. But I did find one spot to sit down in the shade at one point, took my pack off, and it was
man, I was feeling bad. So I did run out of water. Not fully run out of water there, but I was near the top, so that wasn't an issue. But I did have water on me that I was saving for when I got back to camp, so that I could put some electrolytes in it and stuff like that. Didn't eat lunch that day. That was the big thing. I had some little like beef jerky things that Dave had in his pouch. I took stuff to take specifically on the hike that would be easy to eat, but left it at camp. Wasn't thinking. So big learning lesson there. Do not leave the food behind. But yeah, let's look at it. So in total, spent on the trail about 8 hours and 47 minutes, is according to the apps and stuff that we were tracking everything with. And so 8 hours 47 minutes total time on the trail, for a total of 16.94 miles. If I had known that, I would have gone the other 0.06 miles. You know, I did at least that just walking around camp and stuff like that, so I'm gonna call it 17 miles. 57,337 steps. Total elevation gain on our hikes was 1,712 feet. But we also went down for a total of 1,223 feet, and it was some of the exact same parts we went up. There were some additional ones, but it was steep down too, and that was testing the knees. On the Saturday climb or hike, I forgot my hiking poles at camp, trekking poles, and I really wish I had them, especially when I was struggling to finish there at the end. So I managed to drink 18 liters of water, one Gatorade, and then at least 32 ounces of Dr. Pepper with my burger when we stopped for lunch on the way home, and it was fantastic. So, you know, stayed hydrated for the most part. Also says I've burned, this is active calories, not just the total, but just like during the hikes, according to my watch, was 5,387 calories during those hikes. And again, my watch died at some points, so it was even more than that, really. All in all, good trip. You know, I enjoyed it, and looking forward to the next thing. Again, I've got surgery coming up in July on my shoulder, so it's going to keep a pack off of them for a while. I will do day hikes. It'll also be super hot by then, you know, here in Texas, and so I'll do what I can, you know, shorter hikes, and as soon as I'm clear to get a pack on, I'll start doing that again. You know, I've made a lot of progress. I feel pretty good doing these hikes, you know, despite the whining I did this weekend, and I don't want to lose that because, you know, I've got time off. I've also got a gym membership, so I need to go do treadmill, Stairmaster, all that kind of stuff. Get back to the gym. I kind of slacked off then as I've been focusing on putting miles in and not pushing my shoulder. Rotator cuff, I've got a tear in there, and it got pretty painful, all the things I was doing with upper body. And I was like, you know what, I got enough going on. Let's just focus on the hiking and stuff like that. So once I'm cleared on that, I'll start working out at the gym, doing that stuff, getting the upper body to get back up to snuff. Really, I feel like working them shoulders will help carry that pack. Pack weight on the way in was, I want to say, about 42 pounds. On the way out, without the water and the stuff that we left at the truck, it was probably maybe a little under. It was probably 28 or so, which really should be like my goal for total food and water and everything. You know, I want to be less than 30 pounds. You know, someday I want to be probably around 20 pounds, you know, when I get a lighter pack and nicer stuff, you know, years down the road, you know, but you know, it was heavy. It was heavy both ways. You know, it felt good having Dave on the side there with twice as much weight. Not good for him, but, you know, it made me feel better about my situation. I did put his pack on before he loaded it in the car, and this was the pack that didn't have the water and some of the stuff he left behind. I don't know what it was, but it was ridiculously heavy, and more power to him. So thanks for checking it out. Thanks for following along, and we'll see what's next. I think I'm going to do the next video is I'm going to go over everything I had on this trip, just a gear pack out review, show the things that are not going back in the pack in the future, and some things that I'll do differently, and kind of get a good understanding even for myself of what the base weight really is. So thanks for following along. Thanks for being here. Appreciate your time. Tell your friends, and I'll see you next time.